This week's Voice Party is brought to you by IOPvideo.com. We're all stuck inside and content is king right now. So if you want to create some content, have some video shot, advertise your small business, start a podcast, whatever, check out IOPvideo.com. We do it all and we will do it all for you. IOPvideo.com. We make things look pretty.
So welcome to the Voice Party, everybody. We got a very special guest with us today. Nobe, go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's good? What's good?
Hey.
There you go. So Nobe, tell the people what you do.
Man, it'd probably be easier to tell you what I don't do, but but mainly right now I'm a music video director, editor. I do a lot of beat production. Lots of stuff like that. That's my main focus as of right now.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yep.
Yeah, he's also an incredible MC. Don't let him sell himself short.
Yeah. Artist too. I should say that. I haven't hit the booth in a while though, but definitely.
That you know what? I remember. I don't know you personally that well, man.
Yeah.
I remember you were in a group with one of my homeboys, Scam, like way back in high school.
Oh yeah, the starter days. Hell yeah.
Starter. There you go. I was trying
my boy Abram.
Abram and AJ.
Yep. J Diz.
Yeah.
Did you go to Richmond High? Or did you go to school
I went to Richmond High with those two. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nah, J Diz went to school with me.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but damn near might as well say Richmond High shit. Yep.
Yeah, I went to middle school with those guys in Helms, and I remember that I saw you from afar, and aside from that, the other time I saw you was when I heard they mention your name when you were gonna do the part I did for Joaquin's music video.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yep.
For Devils Do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which was produced by Nobe.
Yes, sir.
Dope track, man.
Right on.
Yeah. You know what? I gave the credit to Joaquin when I first started. Like, oh man, he's, I thought he did it all himself. Then I heard you did it. I was like, oh, okay, I've heard of this guy before. I know what you can do. So how long exactly have you been involved with music?
Man, it's been forever. I started rapping when I was like, I think 12. It was super on the under though. Like I didn't like telling anybody about it because I thought motherfuckers would look at me like I'm weird for it. But started out with like a tape recorder and just some, I think it was like 70s rock instrumentals or something like that on a CD, and just me and my little brother rapping over those and then recording it, playing it back, listening to it and all that. So it's been a long time. And I'm 30 now, so it's been a lot of years.
And so right now you're more involved with like producing beats and film, well, music videos, right? That's what you said earlier?
Right, yeah. So mainly right now, I mean, I've been a recording artist for a long time, but for some reason I haven't had the inspiration to make like a album or anything lately. So it's just been kind of like mainly focused on what I know I'm inspired to do right now, which is beat production and, like I said, music videos as well. But I also do other stuff like, commercial work and wedding cinematography, real estate, stuff like that too.
Oh, no, okay. So you're a fellow filmmaker. These guys, well,
Yep.
It's crazy because like that, you not being able to do that music video got me involved with these two guys.
Oh, nice.
Ended up, in turn, we created this, man. So I appreciate you not having time to do that. And
yeah, you're welcome.
I will say this. I would hope that, for the listeners out there and as well as you guys, I haven't told anybody this. And of course, if it's not cool, Phil could always go back and edit it out. But Nobe and I did a song together, and that's going on my first album, Tales to Astonish. So hopefully if we make a music video out of that bad boy, he'll show up for that one.
Hell yeah.
It's his verse.
I got you.
You feel me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, who are some of your influences, man, music-wise? Because you mentioned you rapped over 70s rock. Now that got me curious because I'm big, man. I'm a metalhead, so like I also like hip-hop, but and classic rock. So like I want to know some of your influences.
Yeah, so I mean, growing up, I was really, I mean, of course, the Bay Area
Yeah.
forefront people. You listen to E40, you listen
Yeah.
to Be Legit and a bunch of other people. But for some reason, I was super like inspired by East Coast music too. So like, and I think part of it had to do with I used to go to Rasputin's back in the day, like back when it was like, you had a Walkman or you had like a CD player and shit like that. And they used to sell like New York mixtapes over there. So I got like super into, different artists. Well, especially like Mobb Deep is a huge influence. Jedi Mind Tricks, Ill Bill, of course, like Eminem and different people like that. 50 Cent, top 5 for sure. So yeah, a lot of the East Coast, Midwest influence as well.
See, that's why I liked your production so much when I first met you, and why I'm still one of your primary patrons is because, even though, like, I hop between the South and the West Coast,
Right.
like, and I spent my childhood in Arkansas, but didn't really discover rap until I came out here in middle school, and even then, it was the East Coast people that drew me.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, folks from Chicago, maybe, so you Midwest and stuff. And so there is a sound, like, I'm a sucker for, like, you said it yourself, Nobe. When I recorded the Go to Work Fitness theme, which is going on one of my projects eventually, because most people don't know it's a whole song. When I bought that beat from you, you were like, you like them sample beats, like
Yeah, right.
and like
Yep.
that even though my lyrical content doesn't always match like the Diplomats, the energy though always appealed to me. So I'm like over there, rapping about just doing a blue collar day job, you know what I mean, and working out, and rapping over this like Mel Santana style production beat, just banging. Like I should be talking about shooting people, but I'm not.
Right.
What is it that catches your ear more about like East Coast rap than West, or like, I guess you'd say Bay Area? Is it more that like West Coast and Bay Area rap is more kind of like party type hip hop?
Man, that's a really good question. I would say like kind of what Joaquin was talking about as far as like samples back in the day really caught my ear. So like how he's saying like Diplomats and the Heatmakers who were their producers, that shit is like super sample heavy, like old school choir samples and blues and hella other shit like that. And then you've got Alchemist. Like Alchemist is definitely like, as far as production wise, my inspirations would be Alchemist, Kanye, Heatmakers, of course Dr. Dre as a West Coast dude, but when you're talking about East Coast, Enemy of Mankind, different people like that, those are definitely people. So yeah, like sample heavy stuff and like boom bap shit, just I don't know, it just took me to a different place. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in the hyphy movement too, so I was 10 toes deep in that too. But
yeah,
as far as with music stuff, it was like just the grittiness too of East Coast music fucking gripped me.
Yeah, it's a different. I mean, I'm no expert, but to me,
right,
it seems like as far as like hip hop goes, like everybody says if you want to become a great chef, you got to go to France, and that's how I feel that New York is the France of hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Off top, the birthplace.
The birthplace.
Hey, you know what? You know what? Just to further that point, you know what I'm saying? The standard etiquette, like that when you go to like a fancy restaurant, the whole you put your napkin in your lap, which fork is which.
Right.
No matter what country in the Western world you go to, that's how they handle it. That all comes from France. But the difference, I would say, in regards to the food culinary world and like hip hop, is that each region has formed.
I only made that comparison because I'm a fat
each
ass,
region
sorry.
has. What happened?
I only made that comparison because I'm a big fat ass. I apologize.
No, it's all good, baby. Hey, I like to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like
for you, you know what's up.
Yes, exactly. And you're a great cook. But I was just gonna say, like, the only difference I would say is that each region has such a unique sound and taking it in such a direction. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm gonna ask Nobe this. Like, well, I'm gonna say this to Nobe and ask him. So when you look on his on your Nobe, when you look on your SoundCloud page, you know,
Right.
it's pretty easy if some artist is coming along and they're looking for a specific sound. It is very easy to find any sound that they are looking for on your page, because you're like, all right, 50 Cent type beat,
Right.
Kid Ink type beat, Chance the Rapper type beat. And even though like each one of those sounds like the particular artist that you are like marketing to, you put your own spin on it. Like,
Right.
I can hear the beat and be like, all right, I can hear that Mobb Deep influence. I can hear that Lil Uzi Vert influence, but I also hear, oh, this is definitely made by Nobe. Like, if somebody played one of your beats, regardless, I'd be like, this feels like a Nobe production. So,
Right on.
2 questions actually. One, what made you start marketing your beats in that way? And 2, how do you define the Nobe spin that you put on each production? Like, how do you get to that? Because obviously it's like, I can tell it's you. You know what I mean?
So as far as the marketing goes, a lot of other producers are doing the same thing right now. I think it's an easier way. Like you said, like if you really want to go and not waste time, you could be like, oh, this is a Eminem type beat. This is a Tech 9 type beat. I think it's just an easier way for artists to, look on the page and cut out exactly what they want, and what they don't want. So I think that helps. Like, if they don't want Little Peep type beats, they're gonna skip that and be like, all right, for sure, I'm not fucking with that. You know what I mean? So, and for your second question, as far as what makes my sound, oh man, it's hard to say. I just feel like, I don't know, I've been doing it for so long that it just kind of comes out. You know what I mean? I use certain sounds that I like that kind of speak to me too. And as far as like meshing different genres and stuff like that, I think I like doing that. So I think that also kind of speaks as me too. It's kind of hard to say, like, because I don't really go into beats and go like, I want to make a Nobe spin to this. Really, I just go, I want to make this beat, and then I just do it. You know what I mean? So that's the best way I could explain that.
I got a question for both of you guys on that same note, as far as like producing, because I'm just trying to my point, like from my end, because when I'm like at a bar or when I'm sitting at home high as hell, like I'll think of a joke or something that could become a joke that I could tell on stage, and whatever, I'll write it down and then I'll brush up on it. How do you do that? In the same, like, is there a version of that you do for like beats that you come up with? Do they come out of nowhere, or are you inspired by stuff you listen to? Like, how do you like, because I'm thinking about when I was listening to that first Devil's Due. It's like, how do you just come up with that? You know what I'm saying?
Right. So as far as the process, I mean, I guess when I really do think about it, as far as like when I sit down to make a beat, as far as like nowadays. Yeah, I do go into it as far as like, okay, I want to make something. It's not like I look at it as like I'm going to make a West Coast beat. I look at it as like, okay, I'm going to make this specific type of beat. You know what I mean? And like when it comes down to it, like, yeah, so if I hear some shit like on a new project or a new album or something like that, and that inspires me to make that type of beat, then yeah, I go into it like, okay, I'm going to make this, this Drake type beat, or I'm going to make this type of beat. You know what I mean? So that's definitely part of the process.
Do you ever find yourself creating something that came straight up from your head, and then you listen to something that sounds almost identical on the radio? Man,
hell yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so many, producers and shit out there. It's like, I bet you, in the universe, there's a fucking beat that's exactly dead on. Right. The same tempo, same everything as a beat I've made. Because there's so many producers out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, producers aren't like snowflakes. They there's human beings are not exactly like snowflakes. Well, music, there's only so many notes you can hit, right? And there's bound to be somebody coming up with a similar arrangement at some point.
Yep.
But I would say that you have enough unique stuff that it doesn't matter if like one or two things pop as similar,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, as far as when it comes down to, like, say if I do want to just jump into a beat and not really think of it like I'm gonna make this type of beat, usually I just fucking bang on the keyboard. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just play random chords and it'll kind of evolve from there. You know, that's definitely a way that I produce sometimes too, where it's just like it just comes together somehow and I just build it up. You know what I mean?
How much do you put into a beat until you finally like decide this is it? Because I'm just like, for example, like I'm always I'm referencing to myself with this shit because I'm just trying to understand. Like, I'll tell a joke, I don't know, 100 times, and it all sounds different. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I still haven't decided on how to tell each one of them to this day.
Right.
Like, for you, like, how do you just decide? Like, all right, this is it. Like, does it take a long time for you to get down to that?
I feel like, and this is no disrespect to other producers, but I feel like sometimes producers put way too much fucking effort into their production. Like, sometimes it'll almost like, it's almost like when I'm shooting, like, I've worked with other directors, and like, this is the best way I could connect it to video, is that these directors will think that you have to shoot a scene 50,000 fucking times and have that in the back burner. And I don't understand that. Like, I feel like that kind of ruins the energy and the flow of it. And when it comes down to production, like, I'll sit down, I'll make the beat, and I don't think about it being perfect, or I don't think about it being that I could go any further with it. I just go, okay, this shit's done for me. And like, if people want to buy it, there you go.
You're not pretentious with it. You just let it happen naturally.
There you go. Perfect word. Pretentious. I'm not fucking pretentious about it. Like, there's producers that will tell you that they sat in a studio for 48 hours and fucking worked on one beat. And I'm just like, bruh, that's, especially in the market that we're in nowadays and the attention span of artists, it ain't the same as what it used to be. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
You can't just sit around and work on a beat for 48 hours if you want to make money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Like, Joaquin will attest to this. Like, when we're doing video production,
right.
I try and be as efficient as possible. There's some people out there who will do 100 takes of a scene. They'll spend 8 hours shooting one scene to make sure it's perfect. And I'm just like, look, I got to go. I got stuff to do. People are doing me a favor by even being here. Like, I'm not trying to waste people's time. Did he say the line? Was the shot in focus? Cool, we moving on.
Yep. That's how I like to work too. I'm the same
I've
way.
been on sets where they literally took like shots of the same thing, but physical thing. By the end of it, I was like sweating. Like, there's no way in hell that I'm doing it better now than at the first 3 times. Yeah,
and that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about when it comes to being creative. It's really hard. It's really hard in this game to still love what you do when it becomes that professional. You know what I mean? And like, when it becomes that much of like more of like a science than an art. You know what I mean? Like, we have to do this 50 times. And at the end of the day, like you said, it's like, I don't think I could have done that any better and liked it anymore. You know what I'm saying? So
if it did become that,
well, on the flip side of that, I think there are times, depending on like what you want to get out of the project and what the project is, where you may have to take it quite a bit. Now, I'll tell one story real quick. We were filming for one of our web series that we produce, and we had a guest director. I don't remember if we gave him the credit. I guess we gave him the credit. I'm not going to say his name right now. But we had a guest director, and really what that means is he just kind of directed the actors, right? He didn't direct the camera. Phil was behind on the camera work 100%. Right. But yeah, the other guy to like. And that's kind of what I do too. Is like I float between camera and actor, easy. I could, you know what I mean, as far as directing. But he had the guest director, had our actor go through the same scene like 1,000,000 times. But because the actor we had was a real sport about the whole thing and wanted to get the right performance, B, he wasn't a well-seasoned actor. He's a good physical actor, but when it comes to like delivering lines and stuff like that, he needed work. And because he took so many takes, Phil was able to edit the best possible version of that, not just that scene, but that whole that whole project. So it's like it's watchable. You know what I mean? And I don't think he would have had. We would have been able to pull something together without that. I think there's a rare time where it's like, well, it has to be watchable. Like if it's not watchable, we gotta.
At the same time, when we were shooting that, it was like 4 a.m, and our 2 actors are like passed out on the bed in the hotel room.
Fuck.
And we're just like, all right, well, we still have 3 scenes to shoot. We can wake them up and get one more, but we ain't getting all 3. So we got to pick which one we're going to film.
That sounds like hell.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, we got what we needed.
Yeah.
I mean, the point is, we got what we needed, and the project came out right. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we trade off. There's pros and cons to each style. You know, I remember when we did Devil's Due, we broke it up over 2 days. And so we shot like the city stuff one day and then the wood stuff another day. And we shot 2 hours each day, and we were able to knock the whole thing out because I had everything storyboarded and planned out. And
that's beautiful.
I don't want to waste time. And we had Tomorrow's June on here on the podcast, and we were showing them the video. And they were like, you shot that whole thing in 4 hours? It took us 12 hours to shoot our Say Ayo music video.
Fuck.
You know what's crazy? We could have shot the whole thing in one night. I was just like, I'm going to give it a day before I go to the woods with these motherfuckers because I don't know them, you know?
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I mean, for me, as far as when it comes down, I mean, shooting a movie or film is so much different than music video production. Like, for me, I have a set time as far as how long we shoot for. So each music video that I shoot is done in 3 hours. Mm-hmm. So that's how long it takes us. But people sometimes will, you know, get extra hours or whatever, and they'll add that on. I've done other video shoots too, though, in the past where it's been like 8 fucking hours. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my God, I just want to fucking commit suicide.
Oh my God, me and Joaquin did a music video last year out in Sacramento, and it shot from like 2 a.m. till 4 p.m.
Yeah, fuck that.
Like people were just passing out on the floor whenever there was downtime. There was just bodies everywhere. If you weren't in the shot, people were passed out wherever they could find something.
Man, people were really into that one. That's crazy.
It was a challenge.
So what was making it take that long? Was it the actors were doing shit, or
a
what?
lot of it is the artist wanted to make it. He wanted to Michael Jackson it, where there's like short film moments scattered throughout the video. A fucking movie that turns into a music video for certain parts.
Yeah.
And so the dialogue stuff to film and filming all this coverage, and there was all these setups he wanted. And I mean, he spent a lot of money on this pool house he rented. So I totally get like wanting to get your money's worth and make the most of the production value. But when you got people showing up at 2 a.m. and they're there for 14 hours, like that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot for a 4-minute song.
Jesus Christ.
That's huge. That's crazy. And I would say that in regards to the style of, you know, did you flub your lines? No, good, we're keeping it. Is that even if the actor's performance isn't quite what you would want, you can save a lot in the editing.
Yeah, I've been cutting a long time. There's a lot of shit that gets saved in the edit with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, as far as, but then you also deal with, and I don't know if you guys have dealt with this type of shit before, but there's the director that will make you go through it over and over hella times, just kind of in a sense to make it seem like they know what they're doing a little more, which is weird. I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with somebody like that, but it's like,
yeah, where people are just like, oh, well, Stanley Kubrick did this, so I'm going to do
asserting dominance.
900 takes.
They might not even say it to you, but you kind of get that vibe. Like, look, bitch, I just did that shit right 8 times. I ain't trying to do it again. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah,
it was perfect. I gave the most impassioned performance of my life.
Yes,
what are you
I
doing?
that teacup perfectly, asshole.
Hey, Nobe, so I just aside from the hip hop and the music videos, you're also involved with filmmaking, like that's not related to that at all.
As far say this. Sorry, I missed that question. What was it?
You do films also, because I know you said you did music videos now, but you're doing short films and stuff too.
I'm working on a script, actually. I mean, I'm always like, my brain is always going like 100 miles an hour. So it's like, I'll sit, like the other night, it was like, I think it was a week ago, and I was up till like 5 a.m. in the morning, like just writing out a script. and I got like 2 scenes of it done or whatever. But I haven't actually like jumped into the filming process on any of those projects. But no, I really do want to get into film, and you know, because there's, as far as that goes, that's more of just like a love for the art type thing. Like I do music videos now, you know, as a business. You know what I'm saying? And I still love it. But as far as like film, I'd really like to do something that is like all the way me. You know what I mean? Like as far as that goes, because I know how to shoot things correctly and light scenes and different things like that. So I'm at the point where I could do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that, because when you're doing a lot of like commercial work and when you're doing a lot of freelance stuff, you're really trying to deliver the client's vision, not necessarily your vision.
Yep. Well, I was thinking about this the other day too, as far as, you know, when it comes down the difference between a producer and a music video director, as far as I go, is that, like I said, I'll make the beat and I'll put it out, and then that's just what it is. You can either like it or you can, you know, deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like not buy it or whatever. When it comes down to music videos and music video production and stuff like that, there's certain things where I almost like have a headache from hearing about certain little tweaks that people want. And at a certain point, I have to take myself out of that producer mind state into, you know, the tedious little things like, oh, I have a pimple right there. Don't try that side of my head, or, you know what I mean? So it's like that you have to work with other people. Like you were saying, when it comes down to working for clients and stuff like that, you have to get it right the way they want it. It's not your art.
Yeah, because that's, I think when people are just starting out with like freelancing and working with clients,
right,
it's hard for them to like get notes from the clients, because a lot of times it's like, what? Why would you want to change that? It's perfect the way it is. Oh, your idea is stupid. But you got to understand, like, it ain't your thing. It's their thing. Just what they want.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't, like, they're paying you. Just give them what they want. If it sucks, it's on them.
Yep.
Does it suck to disconnect with a project like that, though? Because, you know, I'm not saying that, I mean, does it affect their quality? Like, I mean, I don't want to, I don't even know if I should ask that, because I don't want anyone in the future. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you just kind of have to. I mean, the thing is, I take every project like it's a, you know, like it's a Hollywood film anyways. You know what I mean? Like, regardless. So in the end, at the end of the day, when you do get to those big levels, you're going to have to deal with that type of shit anyways. You know what I mean? Like, and also you're going through, when you get to like the levels of Colin Tilley, who's like a Bay Area director, who's like the biggest guy now, you know, he does like Justin Bieber, Kendrick Lamar, he did all that shit. You're not just going through the artist, you're going through management, you're going through creative directors, you're doing all this shit. So for me to just have to talk to an artist right now, that ain't shit. You know what I mean? Like, really.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to.
We got a note from the label. It says that they want her in a pink dress. I have to shoot 5 scenes all over again. Fine.
Yeah, it's wild.
Then you got to just take your ego out of it. Because, I mean, there's even people in, like, the industry, like in TV and Hollywood, like editors who'll get notes that they don't agree with, but you just got to suck it up and do it, because that's what they're paying for.
Yep.
You know?
There's something to be said about the independent filmmakers that get to, you know, shoot their vision and make money off of it, you know, put it out in the little art house theaters and, you know, make their million back or whatever it is. Like,
you also got to realize there's a lot that, like, there's a lot behind the scenes that you probably don't know. Like, especially if you're working on like a bigger project or a corporate project, there could be licensing issues. There could be rights issues. There could be all kinds of reasons why they're giving you the notes they want or want the changes they want. So,
Yep.
Do you still perform? Well, actually, right now, I know right now there's no perform. But were you still performing before this thing started? The COVID started. Were you performing?
No, I haven't done a. When was the last time I performed? I think it was when we went out to San Diego and performed with Jedi Mind Tricks. But no, I don't really do too much concert stuff anymore.
Is that something that you? Because I remember when I don't know, it was a long. I saw it. You had like a flyer. Remember the burnt ramen? I think I did a show there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
A bunch of shows there. I did a show there, and I saw flyers up there.
Rest in peace, burnt ramen.
Yeah,
bro.
We're gonna have Mikey Ramen on the podcast to talk about that. But yeah.
Oh man, that's a crazy guy right there. But yeah, that's
those,
legend
those
for
type
sure.
Of places, man. Like I feel for the arts are important to have around because I saw that you performed there. I saw a lot of other people that I know perform there. I did comedy there. Like, if you wanted to, if you wanted to get back into it now, like, what places would you perform? Like, is that something that you want to do in the future, or is that off for now?
Well, to even go back to like the Burn Ramen stuff, like, shit, we damn near put on my group is the IMP Gang. And so we put on damn near like the first hip hop shows that ever happened at Burn Ramen. And those were like the best shows of my whole career. Like, I remember, like, and Burn Ramen in itself is just, that's home basically to me. You know what I mean? Like, as far as music goes. So, I mean, in a dream world, it would be Burn Ramen. Take that shit back home to Burn Ramen. You know what I mean? And like, it's not possible because they shut it all down. I'm sure the fire marshals are, they would never let that shit happen.
It might just happen. I'll just leave it at that because, I've been talking to Homeboy, man. But, are the infantry gang, how long have you guys been around? Because I remember when I was damn near in high school hearing about that crew.
The IMP Gang has been around for, man, I think it's like 12 years now, 10 or 12.
Yeah.
Some shit like that. Like, we all met in high school. I think I was like a sophomore. Gmo was a freshman. And there was a bunch of other people in the group and shit like that. So, right? We've been together for a long time. Yeah, Crowder went to your school, too. He was in there with Scam.
I knew him since elementary.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's my best friend right there.
Y'all had crew. Y'all were like... You know what? I loved that time going to Contra Costa because there were like so many different, like, either rap crews or representative of rap crews. Like, you had Lonnie, who was he was like a part of a group called the Trendsetters. I
just seen him the other day.
Lonnie was, matter of fact, I remember
he's got long ass dreads now too. That shit blew. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I seen him at Bart like 4 months ago, just randomly in Emeryville. I don't even think he noticed me. We were in passing. But he and I used to battle all the time. And before, like, originally when I first started freestyling, it was more like I was in a cipher. Even when I was in a battle, somebody said, even when you battle people, you compliment them. Stop doing that because you're losing. It's cool, you're clever, but you're losing. So so me and Lonnie going back and forth actually got me to finally get up to the point where I feel like I beat him. You know what I'm saying? Because I hit him with this line where I said something like, oh man, I told him something like, I said, your rhymes are flabby. They can't stay in shape. You're out of style because you don't bathe them apes. And I pointed to he had bathing ape sneakers on. And then I said, you could be old. You could be as old as Genesis, and you still haven't heard a flow as real as this. And then he was like, "Oh!" So then, like, he didn't have anything to come back at me. And then Gmo happened to be like walking down the road, and he was like, "Yo, see my little man's over here." So then I don't remember what I said to Gmo, but I remember Gmo killed me in like 3 bars. I was like, I'm gonna go back to the drawing board and do this again. Like, I'm just like, I got a victory. I'm feeling like I done killed Murder Moose or something like that.
Yeah, me and Gmo used to tag team up there at Contra Costa. We used to be battling college students because we were high school students going to middle college in Richmond that was like in Contra Costa. So kids were, there was college students and shit. Me and Gmo, little asses, used to just battle people and roast the fuck out of people. You know what I mean? And that's where we kind of started to get our respect for the group and shit too. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, those are good ass times though.
Man, I used to, like, back when I was working on my first group tape, I used to come through and like play you and Gmo the records off there and be like, what do y'all think? You know what I mean? Because it was just in my nature to just ask other people who had been doing it a little bit longer, or just other people to just, just ask them for advice. And like Gmo heard one of my songs and he was like, well, it was one of my group songs. It was like me and Isaac. And he was like, yo, man, I really like the hook on this. There's actually like a theme to it, because everyone, talks about the artist once they get to like middle of their journey, you know what I mean? Where it's like, that's when they first start getting good. But nobody ever talks about what it's like to do to create your first songs. You know what I mean? Like the struggle of, learning how to, like, in those years, I learned how to count
Right.
bars. You know what I'm saying? I learned how to memorize my songs and go into the booth and then take less than, you know, because the first time I ever recorded, I think it took me like 3 hours to lay one song down. You know what I mean? And I can tell you when I was recording for Devil's Due, Phil, how long did it take us to record Devil's Due?
I think we knocked that out in like 10, 15 minutes. They didn't take long.
Yeah, like, and Phil was sitting there just like with his mouth dropped because he told me, he's like, it's like my friend that I've known all my life. I thought I was hanging out with Carlton Banks. Turns out I was kicking it with the Fresh Prince. And to that I say thanks. You know what I mean? Like, because he had never really seen that side of me. Like, he knows I can act, and I told him, I was like, rapping is a lot like acting. You have to memorize your lines. You put on a little bit of a persona because even though your lyrics may be true to who you are, your mic presence matters. And this is just, I've been doing it for a minute, but it all started, conferring with that little Contra Costa community. Like it, my whole crew, and it's weird, of all the camps out there, because Lonnie was like the dopest in his crew. Like, I knew other people in his camp, and I'm not gonna say any names. I feel like he was the best, right? He was pretty good. But all the other little groups and people out there, I felt like IMP Gang, y'all were the ones that we could run with. Like, I'm like, if we were gonna do tracks with anybody, you know what I mean? If we were gonna, like, how, like, was it the Diplomats did like that joint album with D-Block or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, these would be the people we run with. These are in our market. These are like-minded people. Because you remember how deep my crew was back in the day. I mean, Tony Gore, Cannibal, Amin Ra, shout
out to Tony Gore.
Just, dude, that single that you produced for him, Hometown,
I didn't
right?
make that beat. I just did.
So awesome.
I did the video though.
Oh.
Yeah.
You shot the video.
No, it's good.
My bad. It was an amazing video.
Right
It was
on.
an amazing video. I was so proud of Tony when that came out because, you know what I mean? Like, I know where that man came from. You know what I mean? And he and I don't know if he's going to listen to this podcast, but I definitely want him on my debut album. I definitely want to, bring Tony Gore onto that. Because, Tony Gore, like, he's 1/3 of the reason as far as to what gave me the confidence to rap, because Cannibal, in the trio, pulled me aside and my homie Isaac aside, and he was like, yo, because we were in a different group before Onslaught formed. It was like a group called GTMB. And they pulled me aside and they were like, yo, man, like, we really like you and Isaac, your bars. We don't really like the other guy, and we don't want the other guy on our records. And then you want to come and hop on our mixtape because we think the other dude's whack. And I was like, somebody tell you something like that, and you're like, I'd be honored.
Right.
Like, what I mean? So, I ended up on Genesis, and I was on there twice because it was like me and Isaac were a duo. So it's like they put me on a song, Isaac on a song, and then they put both of us in the song with Tony Gore. And Tony pulled me aside and said, look, your conscious stuff is cool, but I really, really love it, when you go gory. You know what I'm saying? Because that was his favorite style of music, and I was like, I don't know, man. But anyway, it was just those were some of the best times, and in my young life creatively. You know what I mean? Because it was like finding a new path for myself, and you're a part of that. You know what I mean? Like, to this day, you know what I mean? Whenever I'm like, all right, I'm about to do a new song. I'm about to do it. Like, my latest group project, the one that launched in 2017, as soon as I healed up after I got hit by a car and everything, you were the one I reached out to. And I was like, yo, man, like, I need someone to do the impossible. I need someone to mix down records that were recorded outside, on a laptop.
You can hear the birds chirping and the squirrels.
And you were like, you were telling me, you were like, can we bring in people to re-record this? And I was like, nah, I can't really get, at the time, the other member, one of the group members, was just not trying to redo those records, not because he thought they were whack, but because he didn't tell me this at the time. But I found out later his real reason was he wanted to go solo, but he just didn't feel up to telling me. You know what I mean? But what I will say, it was really another reason why I love working with you is because you never turn an idea down, and I mean, no engineer would, but you were the first person to ever say to me, you know what I like working with you, Jay? I was like, why? You were like, because when you actually want to experiment with stuff. Because you remember the tape was essentially all about Batman. It was Batman Year One, and there was and I treated each song like it was a scene, and from the graphic novel. And there is a scene where like the police were chasing Batman down an alleyway, and he was diving into like an abandoned building, and there needed to be a gunshot because I had a rap line where I said, what did I say? I was like the bullet, the baseball, his left leg's the catcher's mitt, catch it quick. And right there, you edited in the boom. We had footsteps of the police like trying to chase him into the burning building. It was dope. And you were actually willing to sit there and search for these sound effects. Like,
that was crazy.
True champ. Now, when I come back in, and I mean it. I know I messaged you a few months back, and I was like, yo, I think I said when quarantine is over, I want studio time, because I'm serious about putting this album out. And when we have studio time, sir, there are definitely some sound effects, because I'm keeping that aesthetic of my songs being stories. Like when people listen to my music, I want them to feel like, with the exception of maybe a couple of records, I really want them to feel like, man, I'm watching, like, he's rapping a movie right now. Like, and if that calls for, like, you remember one of the tracks that's going to be on the album is Tears of Ice.
Sir.
You remember Tears of Ice? Yeah. And you remember, like, what I had you plug in for that. You know what I mean? It was clips from Batman, the animated series. Yep. Hopefully you still got that.
I got it somewhere.
Hey, Nobe, I got a question, man. If you could produce, music for one rapper today, or maybe one who's already passed, who would that be?
Oh shit. So either it would be probably Kendrick Lamar or Vinny Paz.
That's Jedi Mind Tricks, right? Oh, nice.
Yep. And I'm in talks with him. I've been in talks with this fool for like a year, sending him beats back and forth, but we ain't got the right one. So it's just been like, that's just somebody that I've always looked up to, like definitely one of my top 5. So I was obliged to even be in contact with him working on it. But, we'll get there. Things happen, and, we'll make it happen.
And Kendrick Lamar, huh? That's
yeah, I mean, that's just like, that's top tier level for me, as far as like, if you really want to make a mark on the music game, that's somebody that you need to have production for. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really want to make, especially in these times, like, that's somebody that speaks to the people. That's like, you know what I mean? That's historical shit.
Now, question, describe for our listeners, what would a Kendrick Lamar beat sound like to you? You know what I mean? Like, when you really like put it together, like what is Kenny like? You know,
so
what's K-Dot like?
How I'd go about it would probably be starting out. It would probably start out real soft, like some orchestral shit with some piano, and come in calm. Maybe some backup vocals behind it. Like some female vocals singing behind it. And then it would kick into some crazy West Coast, like, hard-hitting, like Kendrick Lamar likes to flip it on people. So he'll go from, 0 to 100. It'll be crazy, That's the way I see it going, for sure.
Right.
Would you say that's one of the, your top 5 or whatever rappers right now that's,
Yeah, I would definitely say he's definitely top 5 for sure. Yep.
I've heard a lot of people mention. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not that familiar with his music, but I've heard enough people.
Yeah.
Now at this point that I'm definitely looking forward to checking some of his stuff out. As far as the independent level, like someone that we talked a lot about this already, but someone who is not on the radar yet. Who would you recommend for someone to check out that maybe they could have a someone you could give a plug to like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of people, man. I work with a lot of fucking talented people. I mean, there's too many to name. There's Blase, Jason, the Sin God, Notro, of course, Gmo. Man, there's just too many to name. But there's so many talented people, especially in the underground right now. I mean, really, it's not even really. It's crazy because there's such a control in the music game now of the people being able to get to any level you want. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you are consistent and you make good music, you could get to the level of Kendrick Lamar, Dr. Dre, Eminem, any of that. You know what I mean? You just have to hit it right and make the right moves. So there's a lot of people out there.
Right. That's what do you think? I mean,
as far as success and also just gaining listeners. That's you know what I mean? There's a ton of them
that kind of made it without getting signed. Chance the Rapper. Like, do you see more of that happening now? Like, it's already happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's already happening. I feel like it's the age now. You know, there's perfect example is like somebody like Boogie. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but he's a LA rapper, and he was rapping. He's like kind of like conscious, but like gangster rap at the same time. But I mean, he went from having 100,000 views on his videos to millions to doing a song with Eminem and getting signed to Aftermath and shit like that. So it's like anything that you put your mind to, you can really do. Like, there's been things in my career as far as, like I said, like with Vinny Paz, like being able to get in contact with somebody that you look up to from the beginning when you're just like a young dude and you're like listening to this music. Man, they probably don't even really exist. You know what I mean? They're probably not even in this universe. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's such a weird feeling. Like, I shot a music video. Right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with X-Rated, but he went to prison for 26 years, and he's out now. I was able to, through actually like social media and things like that, I was able to shoot his first music video coming out after 26 years. You know what I mean? And like that situation was so crazy because it's like I said, that's somebody who hasn't even really been in the real world for 26 years. It doesn't even seem real. And going from that to having a personal relationship with that person and getting like a million, I think we got like almost 2 million views on that video right now. So, it's just crazy, nuts how things can happen. Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he recorded
on that same 10, note though, like
12, 15 albums in prison.
As far
it was crazy
because there are a lot of people making it now, and it's in and not just in hip hop, in every art form. There's a lot of guys, that are getting discovered through. I'll use a perfect example. There's a lot of YouTube comedians, what I'm saying, that are getting into it, and I'm not trying to hate on anybody, because if you can make it, fuck it, whatever. That's good for you. But do you think it also adds a lot of mediocrity to the art? Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, hell yeah, for sure. Well, the main thing I would say, as far as that goes, when it comes down to social media and stuff like that, as easy as it is to open the door to the mainstream and like blow up like that, there's ways that you can do that with money. You know what I mean? There's a lot of artists that pay their way, and probably even, fucking, I don't know, comedians and actors that probably pay their way, Right, money is where it's at.
And that's,
as far as if you want to take
even back in the day, like I remember
quick to blow up, that's how you
reading
do it.
about,
you know what I mean?
Like,
it's not the same game
within
anymore.
the last 10 years. I've read some articles about labels of past prominence. Like, one of the things I found out about Murder Inc. was that a lot of their singles, when they would first launch them, the label would throw like a $500 or $1,000 at the DJ to spin it on the radio so many times. Because if you have Right, pay to play. And if you have like a really catchy song, even if it's not that good of a
Right.
song, if it's catchy,
Right, pay to
it'll
play.
stick in the person's head and they'll want to hear it more and be like, okay, they'll remember who Ja Rule is and they'll catch like wildfire. So to an extent, it's always been, money has always been the quickest way. Money and also like knowing what you're doing as far as like writing a catchy hook. What I like about the internet is somebody like it used to be for a long, long time before, like I would say before 2009. If you were like a rapper that was serious about your bars, or if you were a rapper with a message, it was harder for you, like a conscious message or a social message. It was harder for you to gain mainstream prominence. You know what I mean? It was harder for you to get even just to get to like 800,000 people to buy a record. You know what I mean? It just negativity sells,
Right.
partying sells. But since the internet age has come, it's like we got our chance, the rappers. We got, like I could probably name a dozen that wouldn't necessarily have had the presence now if it weren't for just jumping on YouTube. You know what I mean? And
Yep. Well, and that's where like the music video stuff for me comes into play, as far as like if somebody has the right visual, they can blow
I guess
up
what you're saying is
100%.
like,
you know what I mean? And especially with consistency with that type of stuff
film,
too.
Sundance. Well, I'm trying to work it right. SoundCloud is kind of like hip hop's. What was it? Sundance Film Festival, kind of like it discovers all these new and the talent that you would never get. They would never get a studio shot before. Like right? I mean, that's really okay. That's how out of touch I am.
Right. Well, sadly, I mean, SoundCloud is damn near out the window now, as far as when it comes down to, so the big things, like as far as if I was to tell an artist what to do to make it, is to get on Spotify playlists, to have kind of viral videos on Instagram with snippets of your music or different things like that. And then of course like music videos on YouTube, you know what I mean? But you can't just do the same shit that everybody else is doing when it comes down to the visuals. You have to take it to another level. Right. Or just get crazy with it. That's what I try to tell artists is even if you just do one thing that's out of the ordinary in your music video, like if you fucking, I don't know, what's a good example? I don't know, paint your face crazy, you know what I mean? Or do something that's not the normal. Like take a step outside of your comfort zone and do one thing in your music video that's going to catch people's eyes. That might be the one thing that gets you 1 million views.
Do you follow that at all?
Well, it's I mean, as far as music videos, it's definitely the X-rated video. Like I said, that's almost at 2 million. There's a bunch of other ones that are like 100,000, things like that. My SoundCloud, where I put my production and stuff, that's about like, I think it's at 300,000 plays. So that's cool. Nothing crazy, but what it comes down to is like compiling a bunch of stuff, and then as soon as like you blow up or an artist blows up, that's when everything else hits.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I got 3 actually. I always ask people to name their top. So I got 3 top 5s for you. First top 5, top 5 rappers of today, and today being defined as like the last 5 years.
Okay. Last 5 years. Shit. All right. So one would be Boogie. That's who I was talking about earlier. He's like super,
That's
different.
that voice party work, sir.
God damn. Caught me off guard with that one. Let me see. Who else is dope? I know, right? you know, there's a lot of different people that I fuck with. I mean, it's hard for me to say right now off the top of my head, but yeah, Boogie's one of them. There's a lot of artists. I can't even really think right now.
All right.
As far as my top 5
next,
goes,
I'd like to say,
you know, there's a lot of them
what are
out
your
there.
top
I'll just say.
5 favorite music videos that you've worked on?
Yep.
That you've made?
Okay. Well, recently one is with this dude named Amen, and it's called Nevermore, and we shot that one in San Jose. It's super crazy. It's like super dark and crazy. We shot it with like a jail cell. Of course, the X-rated one, California Dreamin'. One of them I got to work with Brother Lynch Hung and shoot his video out in LA. So that one was super crazy. That was called 31 Summers. And I shot that with my homie Ben out there in LA. My boy Katz was out there with us too. Shout out to him. I shoot with this artist named Biko. He's super underrated, but all the videos that we've done with him are super crazy. So people should definitely check those out. And then yeah, another one off the top of my head. Let me think. It would probably be Blase, and it was a song called Murder She Wrote, I think is what the song's called. But it's like a crazy take on I don't know if you guys have seen Natural Born Killers. Yeah, it was like we basically replicated that in the music video.
For
so
sure.
It was super fucking dope. And that's one of my favorite movies too, so it was a fun project to work on. And then an extra one, Gmo's video. The last one we shot.
All right.
Theater.
Okay, and
that
now
shit was fucking super dope.
Now, which leads me to my third question.
Return to the Filth.
And all your time with IMP Gang, you know, can you name the top 5 like posse cuts that y'all have done?
Yeah,
because I can't really call it because all of them are amazing, but you know, and tell us a little bit about some of them. There've been so many. Like my favorite is, well, I know I just said I couldn't pick favorites, but I still have that jam you guys did as a music video. It was like you, Crowder, Katz, Gmo, McLean. Like to this day, I play that video to some of my students. Like, hey, have you heard of this like group? They're from Richmond. Because you know I work in Kennedy. That tell me, can you hear me? I am like a pilot. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I mean, like, what are your like top 5 favorite collabs?
Oh, are you ready? Or I'm ready. I'm ready. There you go. Yep. Yeah, I mean that's one of them. Home Sweet Homicide, which is a Richmond song with me and Jay Harmony. That shit was crazy. We shot that all around Richmond.
What?
Man, the crazy part is we got a whole IMP Gang album that's probably never going to be released. But it's just it's like 12 songs.
Oh my God, why would you keep that from the world?
You know, but yeah, we probably will never release it, but that shit's crazy too. There's one.
Isn't that painful to create
that's
something?
Just how it is.
It just stays, you know. Like
I wish it could, but like, you know,
man,
things happen.
But do you have the option, or not the option? But are you able to release?
Yeah, I produced the whole thing too, so that hurt extra hard.
Okay. I mean, you have it though, right?
Yeah, one day maybe.
It sounds like you need to talk to the rest of IMP Gang.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not getting rid of that shit. Nah. Yeah,
that's gotta be stressful, man. Like working with a group.
Yeah, everybody's got to be on board.
One of you guys says, "I don't want to have it released."
Definitely.
Is that how it works? I don't. Dang.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's everybody's art. You know what I'm saying? So everybody has to be on board to
as far as
let that go. But you never know what can happen.
Goes, man. I got like kind of like the similar question that he had, but because when I heard that beat, did you make that Did you make that beat before he mentioned to you at all, like for the Devil's Due? Because it already had like a very horror, vibe to it. Like, are you a big horror fan, or is that just something that kind of came?
Yep.
Okay, because when you mentioned Mobb Deep has that same style.
Right.
Kind of, it sounds like scary. Ominous.
Yeah, of course. Definitely.
So you just like producing that type of. I'm trying to get a sense of your sound, like.
Right. Yeah, I mean, as far as that, that's a good, actually, something that I never really think about too much is that I do like the darker shit. Like, I know I've worked with, certain artists before where, like, we'll be sitting in the studio and then I'll start out with a beat and it'll be like the loop or the sounds in it will be, a beat, and then all of a sudden I'll add like a dark piano to it, and then they'll just be like, yo, this shit's getting too dark. I can't fuck with this. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's like I like the darker shit. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like a lot of the newer artists nowadays, they like do a lot of like the trap shit, and I like how it's a lot darker.
That's what I was gonna say. Like this guy,
you know what I mean? Like it's a lot more ominous, for sure.
It's funny, Phil and I, when we were.
yeah, for sure. You already know. Yeah, no, Immortal Technique definitely Dance with the Devil and shit
sold
like that.
The beat to somebody like an artist and then regretted it later and said, man, I should have kept that for myself. Like back when you were recording verses for, putting out your own projects on a regular, or has that never happened?
No, I never really felt that way. I've had artists come at me when they're pissed off that I've sold a beat to somebody, and they're like, "Man, what the fuck? Oh man, I wanted that beat. I'm just
especially
like,
with
hey man, I gotta pay my bills. Shit."
I have a friend who's an artist, and he paints, and he gets offers for some paintings, and the paintings that he sells don't get offers as much as the ones he decides to keep. You know what I'm saying? So like for you, is there like beats that you have sold that you later on like, man, I could have done this with it?
Shit.
Have you ever had those thoughts after giving away your babies, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I always have that kind of feeling of like, because deep down in me is like the artist too. You know what I'm saying? So like, my first love will always be recording music and writing music and shit like that. So it's like I'll find myself sometimes when I'm making a beat and I'll just be so like entrenched in it that I'm like, man, I could fucking make a song to this and I could do this and that. You know what I mean? But it doesn't happen. But still, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to fucking sell this, but fuck it, whatever. I'm not gonna make a song anyway. Let me just put it out there.
When you
know what I'm saying? Somebody else will kill it.
I don't know the laws or anything, but like when you sell it, you can't do anything else with it yourself, right? Okay. What I'm trying to do.
Nope. I sell all my beats exclusively.
On the Devil's Due remix.
So that means that I just basically sign off the rights. That's pretty much how it goes.
For sure, actually, like, I'm not gonna lie. I think Nobe is gonna, like, when you calculate the beats I've already got from you and written to that haven't been recorded yet, and then the beats I'm gonna get from you, you're probably gonna lace like 70, 80, possibly 90% of my album. It's gonna be crazy. Nobe and I've been working for a long time on stuff, and you already know.
You still writing down your rhymes?
Hell yeah.
Like the stuff
That's
that comes
what's up.
to your head? Like, where do you draw inspiration from overall, man?
Long time. Yeah, we got a lot of history.
Okay.
As far as so I'm a big like hook guy, like chorus.
Right.
Like I really like writing. That's my thing right now is like, if I am gonna write, it usually comes out as a chorus or a hook. You know what I'm saying? So like, I still do those here and there, and like, I'll do hooks for people and stuff like that, but that's where I really find it. I mean, so for me, when it comes down to the music and stuff, like, my life is a lot different than what it was 3-4 years ago. You know what I mean? So as far as like making music from a grown person and like more matured and shit like that. For me, it's like I have to sit down and really figure out how I want to go about. If I was to work on an album, I'd have to do it the right way. You know what I mean? Because I can't, like I said, I've matured. I'm a lot,
Your creativeness.
I'm not
is
as much of a
aged, is what you're
nutcase
saying.
as I used
It's
to be.
matured.
So it's like when it comes
Like
down to
fine
making
wine, though,
music,
it
it has to
seems.
be a certain aesthetic to it.
Have you gotten yourself to where it's changed?
Exactly.
Almost
Right.
where that
Yeah,
young
hell
fire
yeah,
has
for
kind of
sure.
burned away, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Certain moments where you're kind of have to really, as far as I'm saying, is like sometimes when you're younger and when you're exploring your creativity with an art, certain things just kind of, I would say, like they just ignite like faster. And then as you get older, we got bills, kids, and all this other shit that comes in. It sometimes
Oh yeah.
you gotta flick your dick to get it hard. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep. Yeah,
I'm
I
saying
mean, it's
creatively, though.
yeah. It's definitely not yet. Shit, thank God. But it's yeah. Oh yeah. I got you. But as far as that
Right.
goes, it's like
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I would say when it comes down to back in the day, all I wanted to be was a rapper. You know what I mean? Like that's all I ever wanted to be. And when it really came down to it, and I got more
Congratulations.
into different aspects of things, and that's something like I've got a son. He's 7 months. He's 7 months old. Yeah. And like when he gets older, like you can always change. You know what I'm saying? Like I think there's like a bad thing about people like say,
Right.
like you said, losing the fire type shit. It's like you don't necessarily have to look at it like you're fucking up or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like people change, people's creativity changes. I feel like I can make music if I wanted to sit down, but I just feel like I have more of a destiny with
You made
other
a
things.
perfect.
You know what I mean? To make more of a mark
Perfect
on the
point on that,
world
'cause
as far as that
I
goes.
feel sometimes when you, well, I mean, I don't know. I could ask this to all of you guys because all of you guys are artists, man. Like when you're doing it so much that have you ever had that where you do it so much that you kind of lose the taste for it? Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I feel like it's a healthy thing. Like I was saying earlier about trying new shit and trying different things out, because yeah, you can definitely get in a rut of doing the same things. Like I brought on for the company for Noble Cinema, which is my video company. I brought in a new visual effects guy, my guy Chris. And I brought him on probably, I don't know how long it's been now that he's been on the company, but probably 6-7 months, maybe longer than that. I can't even remember right now. But once I brought him on, I was able to take the shit to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? And I have to pay him, but it's worth it to change the monotony of just it being a regular music video. You know what I'm saying? Like anything that I want, he can handle. I'm like, yo, cut this fool, like Gmo's video. We did Return of the Filth. And I told him, I'm like, yo, I want you to cut this dude's face off with a machete. I want his face to fall. I want him to get hit with the machete and his face to fall off and blood to be all in his face. And he did that. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's the type of shit that I feel like you need to do. If you feel like things are monotonous and you're just doing the same thing over and over, you just have to kind of step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that definitely gets you to grow beyond what you already know. And if sometimes some guys get so good that they get comfortable at only being that. You know what I'm saying? So that's. I think you nailed the perfect example of how to stay creative as you grow. Because that some guys don't handle that well, and that's why you have some dudes they're super talented, but they in their head when you talk to them and in their late 40s, they still sound like a young teen. And nothing against that, because I'm all for keeping your inner child inside at all times. But yeah, that's
right.
I mean, that's something I struggle with myself. Yeah. No, I do stand-up comedy.
Right.
Yeah, as far as
And you make music or what?
When I was growing up,
you say you
I
do
played
metal
drums in band class, and then
stand-up
after
comedy,
that,
but you fuck with
I
metal
messed around
music.
with a few friends and did a little bit of metal, heavy metal. Played a little bit at the Burnt Ramen. Actually, that's how I first heard about that place. But I we did a little.
You
Yeah,
played
we did a
music at
little
the ramen?
performance. It was
Right.
it was like three of us. We just covered Metallica and but
I didn't know
I
that.
don't know what I've said it a lot of times. I always wished I would have stayed with music because I'm passionate about music. Comedy wasn't something I really wanted to do. It's just something I got into because of somebody suggested it, and
Yeah.
it just felt right when I was performing. You know what I'm saying? Like I love doing music. I love performing. We did a few shows when I was in band class, and I still have electronic drum set and guitar laying around here. Before a show, I'm always listening to some of my favorite songs. That's how I get amped up for the show. But as far as like when I have actually Gaspar, who's one of the hosts here, when I first saw him performing, seeing local comics perform live, it did something to my brain where it was like, oh man, I could do it. So in that same note, was there something like that you saw, like a local artist that you saw performing, like, oh, I want to get into it? Because that's what inspired me more than anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not really local artists as more as like people on TV and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Or like listening
Right.
to the radio and all that stuff. Like, yeah, you see music videos and you see, the MTV Awards and shit like that, and people on stage in front of thousands of people. And hell yeah, I want to get up there and do that same shit. You know what I mean? Like that's definitely a huge inspiration back in the day for sure. But also the people that I surrounded myself with, like, people in my camp and shit, we do shows and put on our own shows and stuff like that, and that shit was inspirational too, because we were able to bring in like that show, perfect example with Burnt Ramen. It's like I think we had like 150 people there the first show that we did. Shit,
Right.
man, it was rough though, because we got into fights and a whole bunch of other shit happened. So that's just how Burnt Ramen was. But I'll always remember those times, as far as like, if you really want to talk about the come up, that's like performing at that spot. Like I always tell people, I'm like, that was the place that inspired me to want to do this shit forever. And like, as far as music goes, even because I'm still in the music game, you know what I mean? Like it's not even just because I'm doing music videos, it doesn't mean that I'm not in the music game. It's like I'm in it still. Like I still have that, that love for it. It's just in a different way. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like with comedy, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you know what?
I feel like
and our
music artists and comedians are a lot alike.
That's why I have a lot of.
I feel like there's a lot of similarities
and comedian friends and the thing. What's crazy that I always see in us, more than like actors and anyone else, we have other. I don't want to say aspirations, I guess you could say it. Like I know a lot of musicians that they wanted to be comedians. You know what I'm saying? But they're musicians, and a lot of comedians that like me. I wish I was a musician, and something about that, that kind of drive to do that other thing. It makes your thing that you do, like it gives you all that passion that you had for that other thing. It kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's gonna sound cold, but like it's like you're thinking about another girl while you're with your girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, a less cynical way to look at it is, if you're creative,
I like that.
If you're creative, it's like you're gonna see some comedians on TV. You're like, oh, I want to try that. You're gonna see some musicians like, I want to try that. And if you're creative, you probably might have the talent to do more than one of those things.
I thought, that thought does come to my mind. Like that's why I like hanging out with. I have a lot of friends who are in bands, and when we hang out, I see them performing. I see, I've seen Joaquin performing, and then just. I think, man, how do they do it? And they say the same shit to me, how do you get up there and you tell these stupid jokes and you don't get nervous. That's one of the things we like that I
Right.
think we have in common. We both get nervous, and we both have that. You know, we go to war in different battlefields, but you know, it's the same thing. As far as you, like, I always ask this: have you ever? I mean, I don't. This is the only time I've ever talked to you. I think I saw one of your boys performing stand up once. I don't know if you remember that. I think you. Is that who it was? Yeah,
I think it was McLean.
Yeah, that's actually
I think so. I
the
think he
Boiler
was
House.
doing
used to be
comedy.
called. That's where
Wasn't
I
it
saw
at a
Gaspar,
spot
who
in
was on the
Richmond?
call here.
Was it over there by the marina? Yep.
Yeah, I saw that. They turned.
You know
it
that
into-
shit's like
yeah.
like right by there with the craneway.
Wow.
That's like a COVID
As far as
like
that's
hospital
a
now.
perfect thing you just brought up. Right now with the
Shit's
COVID,
wild.
like, have you
Shit's
been
wild.
cranking out a shitload of new content, or what have you been using this time for?
So yeah, I've still been shooting music videos, but I've pretty much told people like it cannot be huge groups. We can't be doing a fucking video on a side show. You know what I mean? Like that shit is just not gonna.
I have a
fly.
question since
you know what I mean.
So I do a
So
little bit of
it's been
photography, and
smaller
I'm like,
productions.
you know, like I'd be like photography would be easy because I could easily be 6 feet away from people. But like, what has been people's response to you, or do they come
Right.
to you? Do you come to them? What has been people's response to working during this time?
So there's been certain people that I had scheduled that didn't want to shoot, and we just rescheduled. And then there's other people that were down to shoot, but I pretty much just told them like I'm gonna be wearing a mask, or we're gonna be 6 feet apart, and I don't want hella people at the shoot, and you know, just a bunch of different things. And then like not giving high fives and
That's
daps
safe
and
and
shit like that
responsible.
shit we can't do. You know
On
what I
the
mean?
bright
Like,
side, I figure
I just had to
there's
pretty much put it
probably
on the
some
table.
artists out there who's always wanted to film a
So
Mortal Kombat themed music
Exactly.
video, and now it's like the masks are a go. Some
Now's my chance.
reptile, like you get the whole squad up there
Yep.
just dressed up like ninjas.
Yep. Exactly.
We always ask most of our guests this, man. What's one of your favorite horror films? Because you know Joaquin does and Phil do that thing, and,
Yep.
and we talked about how you have that little eerie vibe to your beats. What's one of your favorite horror films? Oh, yep.
So from back in the day, one of my favorite ones of all time is Chucky 2. That's my shit. I like the original Child's Play, but I like the second one for some reason, because there's like the scene that always like stuck with me is like they're like, it was him and the kid got stuck in like the factory, and Chucky gets his hand stuck underneath this gate, and he fucking pulls his hand off like from his arm, and you just see like all the stringy blood. It was so gnarly, bro. Like that's just one of my all-time favorite scenes. So I'd have to say that. But like a movie that
We've
people
talked
probably
about
don't
that.
even, they should never check out. But it's like one of those
I
movies
I
that'll
still
really
haven't
fuck
seen
you
it,
up
but
is a
it's been
Serbian film.
discussed on this podcast.
Don't. You know,
Have you guys
crazy?
seen it?
I'm gonna be honest.
I don't
man.
think I ever will.
I went through like a lot of horror films, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I feel like I had seen it all, and then I looked up, I googled most disturbing, you know, or most. Yeah, like I first went the scariest films of all time, and I looked at the list like I've seen The Exorcist.
You sound like me.
So then I just put Disturbing. I remember that was number one on a lot of the lists, and I was like, all right, let's see what's up. And it was like, I wasn't scared, but I was like, I couldn't touch myself for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It fucked me up. Yeah, it fucked me up.
Yeah. Automatic warning. Yeah, bro. But see, the only reason I even bring that one up is because that's some shit where you probably can't even take it to another level than that. Like that's when I think about like horror films and like gore movies and shit like that. Like you just ain't gonna top that.
All the actors,
That shit's
anyone
fucked.
who agreed to be part of the shit should be arrested right away. Because you watch it and it's like that's based on real shit. You know.
Yep. Yeah, right. Like, imagine how awkward it was to film that movie, though. Just like, all right, we know we got something really fucked up.
Like, no, shut up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody went home with their
just
heads
ashamed
down
of
every day.
themselves.
Oh shit! That's crazy. I don't know why
that wasn't me,
I didn't
bro.
expect
That wasn't me.
because that movie doesn't like people.
Yeah, that shit's wild.
Talk about it, but not like like have you seen it? Nah, like nah, I haven't seen it. That's crazy. Yeah, man. You know what? When I remember that, I never, and I don't know who to ask because I didn't know anybody that was in your crew. I was like, is it INF or is it INF? And you just cleared that up for me earlier because I didn't know. Yeah, so it's IMP Gang. That's what you call yourself, IMP Gang.
Yep. IMP Gang. Yep. Started out as the infantry. I actually have that shit tatted on.
What's an infantry?
But,
why did you?
Yeah, started out as the infantry, and then we made a song called IMP Gang, and then that just stuck forever. So
yeah. Oh, okay.
Just like a big ass group.
On that same note,
and they have
basically, you know what I'm saying? Like, not fucking around.
Started, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know if that's even something you want to answer, but yeah, right.
I mean, shit. No, it was just a brotherhood, and we all grew up in Richmond, so you're surrounded by fucking gangs and shit. So it's like you gotta fucking either you gonna join that shit and rep that, or you're gonna fuck with your brothers and do whatever you're gonna do on the side. So I always looked at it as like, of course we weren't jumping each other in and shit. You know what I'm saying? But we always rode for each other, like, Yeah, exactly. We still are family. So it's that's just how it was. It was like, I mean, if you really want to say a gang, that's shit. Okay.
Yeah,
that's how you rock.
That's why I like doing this, man, because there's Richmond's such a small city, and there is a lot of talent that's coming from Richmond. I didn't expect this much. Like when we first started this, I thought maybe we'll 10 episodes and cover all of the artists that come from Richmond. We're at like 49 almost, right, Phil? Like something like that. And it's been almost all Richmond.
Something like that.
We just discover as it goes. Like, we've done local politicians and stuff like that. And you mentioned you wanted to do a podcast. I think you should, man. That'd be a good thing for you, especially right now that you got. I don't know if you got the time or not, but you're doing this well, man. You're a good speaker. Yeah.
Right on. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I just have so much other shit going on. I would love to find the time to do it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Nobe, but didn't you guys have
I like to leave it to the professionals like you guys.
A vlog going on for a while on YouTube? I remember the intro, the IMP Gang media.
Yeah.
Like, that was...
Oh no! That was my first video company. So it used to be Noble Cinema used to be IMP Gang Media, and I was like when I really was like, okay, I need to start taking this shit professionally. Yeah. I'm like, nobody's gonna hire me for a wedding shoot if I have IMP Gang Media at the beginning of my shit. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's gonna want to take some fucking corporate.
Who's catering?
All right, here we go. We need a corporate commercial done. Who's doing it? IMP Gang Media. Oh yeah. Fuck that. You know what I mean? Like. So,
yeah, man, it's been great talking to you, bro. Like,
for real.
Like I never really actually talked to you. I've seen you around, like in Richmond. You see, like I remember that show that you mentioned, the comedy show. That was one of the first comedy shows that I went to that I saw Gaspar perform, and I remember you. I remember you from your crew because Crowder and I go back to like elementary. So. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Small ass world, man.
Yeah,
I used to have this joke.
Small ass world, bro.
Everyone in Richmond,
Richmond is just too small for its own good. That's the thing.
Such a small fucking. Anything you want to plug that you have up and coming?
Facts.
I mentioned the X-rated video. Anything else that or anyone that you want to shout out? IMP Gang.
Yeah, I mean, shit. shout out to the IMP Gang. We talked about them enough. Yeah, you can follow me actually on Instagram at IMP Gang, INFGANG. That's like my personal shit, but I post a bunch of the videos and different things like that. And then also my company page on Instagram is at Noble Cinema Official, and Noble is NOBLE, and then Cinema Official. Yeah, I mean, just follow me on there, and then the SoundCloud, Nobe-Inf-Gang for all.
I got something. I mean, thank you for coming on, man. Like, and blessing us with this wonderful interview. And
we'll do it again if you got time.
I know I said it
down the future.
Hell yeah. Hey man, it's all good. I appreciate you guys reaching out. I've been telling
man, we're just glad you had the time to do it.
I want to get on that podcast because I've been seeing you guys
do come back
thing,
again.
So
It'll
I
be like
appreciate
in
you
our
guys
studio rather than over the phone, man. The couch is comfortable. The Sega Genesis Mini is fun. It's a dope experience.
Hell yeah!
But that's the best part of this whole pandemic is all the guests that were too busy to come on the show before. All of a sudden, we got no excuse.
Though, we can get like the whole IMP Gang to come together one day. Like we had tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
All came to the
Facts.
I know. It's huge. It's huge.
You need a big ass room for that.
I just thank you, and I look forward to working with you soon, man. As soon as this quarantine.
Hey. You too, man. Real quick, just the last thing I wanted to, if there's someone out there that's like thinking about
off tops, yeah, y'all be safe out there, man.
They're passionate about. What would you say to them? But
I would say take it like it's a real job and stay consistent. Don't take it as you're gonna change your mind tomorrow. Look at this shit for like a 10-year plan and make this shit happen. Don't bitch out because shit doesn't work out one day.
Voice Party, Phil, take us out.
Straight up.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you for hopping on, Nobe. This is the Voice Party, and we are out.